Hey folks, I found something I think you'd be very interested in. It's something we all need to be aware of and prepare for. Hang on, I'm going to share it with you. Orlando Prepper coming at you. While I was doing my research last night, going over a few news sites, reading stuff, watching TV, I found out about a documentary project that was done by Dennis Quaid. The documentary is called Grid Down, Power Up. I really think you need to see it. There's so much in there about how vulnerable our power grid is and how simple it would be to fix. And they explain why nobody's doing it. It's ridiculous. We all pretty much know that the transformers stationed out throughout the nation are the most vulnerable points in our power grid, and that people have been attacking them. Well, when one of those go down, it takes 18 months to get a replacement. That's not the worst part about it. Right now, the United States is getting all of these massive transformers from a country you may have heard of called China. Now, with all the tensions we have going on between the U.S. and China, if China decides to shut them down, we don't get any more. So it's going to take a lot longer than 18 months to get one. Now, like I said, people are attacking these transformer substations. Those aren't the huge ones. Those are smaller, just maybe 20% of the size of the big ones that we really need to worry about. But every day, intelligence sources are telling us that there are hundreds of cyber attacks on the grid that are shut down every day. But maybe just one of those gets through. Bingo, it's lights out. And there's also reports from last year from the Department of Energy that saying there was over 100 physical attacks on substations in the United States in 2022. It's also a known fact that if people do attack those at strategic locations and take out just 9 or 10 of those, it can cause a cascading effect that will black out the entire United States. So, we got to really think about hardening our security around those things. But you personally, you need to make sure you have a backup power source. I've done videos here on solar power systems. They're not really too expensive to put together if it's just a small one. Just enough to keep you, a radio going, a light source for your home. If it's still worth it, charging your cell phone or your computer. They're not that expensive. Got a video here and shows you how to build a portable one. Check my channel out. You'll find it. Might put a link down below to that. Matter of fact, I believe I will. I'm also going to link that documentary below. All you have to do is click and play. It's that simple. Really didn't think a whole lot about this. I'm pretty much prepared for it. But when I saw our Secretary of Energy being interviewed by Jake Trapper on his, I think it's State of the Union show, I think's the name of it. And she said that intelligence sources and the military knows that our enemy, all of our enemies pretty much, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, they already have the technology to shut down our power grid if they want to. And the documentary explains just how easy it would be for someone to actually set off an EMP. It doesn't take a lot. So with the threat of the cyber attacks, threat of an EMP, the physical attacks on our power stations, you need to get it together, folks. You need right now work on getting you a backup power source. But the worst part about this documentary is the fact that the technology to harden our power grid is available right now, but nobody wants to pay for it. The private power companies say, they're a public utility So it should be in national interest for the government to pay for it. And then, of course, the government's saying, well, it's a private company. Why are we going to sink our money into these private companies? Well, they're sinking it into green energy companies. Why not the ones we have now? It would cost a lot of money, but it would be worth it. If some group of terrorists crosses our border, for goodness sakes, we know that ain't possible, right? And they map out strategic locations across the country to take out these substations. Bing, it's lights out. It wouldn't take more than probably 40 men to do that. But all of this stuff is actually talked about in Washington occasionally, and then all of a sudden it just seems to go away. The money's been tracked back to power companies and their lobbyists, giving donations to politicians to kind of make this thing not happen, because it cost them less to invest $100 million in a lobbyist than it does to invest, billions and maybe trillions in the power grid. So you're vulnerable, I'm vulnerable, everybody in this country is, because nobody will get serious about this being a national threat. If it does happen, they're not going to be there for you. The same government that's refusing to protect us is not going to be there to protect you if this does happen. Get it done, folks. I can't say it enough. Get you some backup power. The grid is too vulnerable. We never know what's going to happen. We might wind up in a war with one of these countries that already has this technology. And if we do, it's lights out. So with that, I'm going to say, stay strong. Do what you got to do to make sure the lights are on in your house if it goes dark. Stay patriotic to our founding principles and pray for the United States. The Orlando Prepper is out.